I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but the White the White House account on X is pretty wild these days. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's following this situation, but it's it's insane to think that the White House official White House account for the United States of America almost feels like it's being run by a troll account. Like they're it's like the almost like the Wendy's account where they just say the most random stuff and you're like, are they serious or did they get hacked with this? Because this is wild. Uh, the White House posted at 3:52 p.m. Pacific time today. Definitely don't visit COVID.gov with a laughing emoji holding over the face of the hand. So, so when you go to, has anyone been here yet? This blew my mind, by the way. I'm like, this can't be real. So you go to COVID.gov and it redirects to whitehouse.gov/lab leak true origins of COVID-19. So I'll share this in the chat if anyone's interested in perusing it themselves. But we have a badass image of Donald Trump walking forward here with lab leak in the background. And it says, the true origins of COVID-19. And I'm like, holly fucking Luya. We have someone in power that's like, all right, we're just going to be honest with people here because we're sick of the BS that was spread throughout that entire situation. This is refreshing, guys, to see this. You'll love to see this. It says the Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally. And when you find out, by the way, that Fauci had direct connections to the virus lab in Wuhan, you get to start to see the conflict of interest that he might have been facing and trying to deflect away from potential investments or potential connections that he had with the lab to make it seem like it had nothing to do with something that he was directly affiliated with and trying to offload it on would you look at that? What a coinky dink. Just down the road, 7 miles away in this wet market, does the most crazy biopollutant destroying mankind since the Black Plague take place. And it just coincidentally is 7 miles away from the research center that deals with these virus strains. In the entire planet, it's 7 miles away from that. I don't know, guys. I got some confusing questions and there's some convenient answers that we got from Elf Fauci. So 1, the virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. Data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. And this is the big one here. Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has a history of conducting gain-of-function research, gene altering, and organism supercharging at inadequate biosafety levels. Wuhan Institute of Virology, or WIV, researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at the wet market. By nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of a natural origin, it would have already surfaced, but it hasn't. And this map should expose everything. When you look at this, take a second to just breathe this in. As opposed to COVID, don't breathe that in. It is 7.5 miles away. So theoretically, a researcher of Wuhan that got infected with the virus could have lived over here somewhere, gone and traveled to get dinner at the wet market, coughed on some food, and then boom, virus spread everywhere. Which it doesn't take Umbrella Corporation for everyone to realize that's probably what happened here. Proximal Origin publication, the Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated in nature. Again, conflict of interest pushes a lie. A lab-related incident involving gain-of-function research is the most likely the origin of COVID-19. Current government mechanisms for overseeing this dangerous gain-of-function research are incomplete, severely convoluted, and lack global applicability. This is, by the way, everyone's worried about like nuclear winters and nuclear. Once one person presses the button, the whole world blows each other up. That's not what you should be most concerned about. You want to worry, you want something to keep you up at night. Think about the virus research centers that are incompetent with what they're doing. And even if they are competent, why are they doing it? Is it for good, or is it for nefarious, for fighting things? Either way, dealing with this kind of stuff is a very heavy double-edged sword. Sure, it could help cure viruses, but it could also be used to destroy humanity. So, yeah. We got EcoHealth Alliance Incorporated, EcoHealth under the leadership of Dr. Peter Daszak, used U.S. taxpayer dollars to facilitate dangerous gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China. What the hell is America doing in Wuhan virus research? Why don't we have our own virus research in America? What are we doing with taxpayer dollars for that? That should blow everyone's mind. Phase Beast, Alex Jones, JT. I mean, I literally need a tinfoil hat some nights. That should be my fourth tier hat. Hell, that should be the hat I start the night with. After the select subcommittee released evidence of EcoHealth violating the terms of its National Institutes of Health, the NIH grant, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, commenced official debarment proceedings and suspended all funding to EcoHealth. Yikes. Yikes. New evidence also shows that the Department of Justice, the DOJ, has opened an investigation into EcoHealth's pandemic-era activities. This goes into NIH failures, government oversights, dangerous research, deficient, unreliable, pose serious threats to both public and health and national security, which is what I was just talking about. Further, NIH fostered an environment that promoted evading federal record-keeping laws, as seen through the actions of Dr. David Morens and FOIA lady, Marge Moore. And then this is, again, guys, this is the official Whitehouse.gov website that COVID redirects to right now. Executive grant of clemency by Joseph Biden, President of the United States. To all to whom these presents shall come, greeting. Be it known that this day I, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States, pursuant to my powers under Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution, have granted unto Dr. Anthony Fauci a full and unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States. Guys, what kind of deep state are we in right now? We had a president of the United States giving a full and unconditional pardon to a guy that may have committed or taken part of any offenses against this country. That's like pardoning a terrorist that was trying to destroy your own country. And this is the president of the United States, Joe Biden, pardoning him. Yikes. A full and unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States, which he may have committed or taken part in from January 1st, 2014 Anthony Fauci pardon. HHS obstruction. Biden administration's HHS engaged in multi-year campaign of delay, confusion, and non-responsiveness in an attempt to obstruct the select subcommittee's investigation and hide evidence that could incriminate or embarrass senior public health officials. It appears that HHS even intentionally under-resourced its component that responds to legislative oversight requests. Guys, this is insanity. This is insanity. They were purposefully underfunding investigations. The people that were supposed to be funding it realized that the investigation was coming back to them. So they're like, yeah, cut all that funding because it's going to incriminate me and I don't really want that. So cut all the funding to all those places. EcoHealth obstruction talks about this, doctoring documents before releasing them to the public. We got Dr. David Morens, Dr. Fauci's senior advisor, deliberately obstructed the select subcommittee's investigation, likely lied to Congress on multiple occasions, unlawfully deleted federal COVID-19 records, and shared non-public information about NIH grant process. New York obstruction, New York, of course, New York's involved with this, led by Governor Kathy Hochul, redacted documents, offered numerous illegitimate privilege claims, and withheld thousands of documents without an apparent legal basis to obstruct the select subcommittee's investigation into former Governor Cuomo's pandemic-era failures. And then we have Forbes breaking news with the investigation there. World Health, we got the WHO. The WHO's response to COVID-19 was an abject failure because it caved to pressure from the Chinese Communist Party and placed the CCP's political interests ahead of international duties. Further, the WHO's newest effort to solve the problems exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic via the pandemic treaty may harm the United States. Bro, just when I thought I couldn't love Donald Trump even more, I read this and I'm like, holy shit. He doesn't give a shit. He's just like, I'm going to just say it. This is the truth. Come at me all you want. This is amazing. This is amazing. Social distancing. Oh, this part is great. Did you hear how Fauci just made that up? And he was like quoted making that up. The 6 feet apart social distancing recommendation, which shut down schools and small businesses across the country, was arbitrary and not based on science. During closed-door testimony, Dr. Fauci testified that the guidance sort of just appeared. Mask mandates. There was no conclusive evidence that masks effectively protected Americans from COVID-19. And remember, by the way, this is why I, as a dad, get so pissed off about this. Because I had to send my kids to school with masks on when they're like 5 years old, or 6 years old, or 4 years old. And they're getting dirty and they're playing with them. And they're literally getting even more gross and worse as the day goes on. They're barely wearing them. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Who is in charge? Who's making these decisions? This is not okay. This is crazy. Lindsay I says, can you link the article? I did at the beginning. I'll link it again here. But here you go. Public health officials flip-flopped on the efficacy, there we go, of masks without providing Americans scientific data, causing a massive uptick in public distrust, which, yep. Lindsay I says, a lot of people owed me an apology. A lot of people owed me an apology too. Lockdowns. Prolonged lockdowns caused immeasurable harm to not only the American economy, but also to the mental and physical health of Americans, with a particularly negative effect on younger citizens. Again, as a dad dealing with the pandemic, I'm very grateful to live in an area where there was a park nearby. But dude, they had caution and warning and like that police line taped around the fucking outdoor public parks. Outdoors in the open air. They wouldn't let kids play on the slides. Locally, where I live in San Diego. Rather than prioritizing the protection of the most vulnerable populations, federal and state government policies force millions of Americans to forego crucial elements of a healthy and financially sound life. For years. It wasn't just for like a month or two. It was for years. And they want you to look back and be like, oh yeah, that was just like a few month thing. Like we passed, like this thing lasted forever. And I was calling it bullshit from day one, by the way. I was one of those like, oh, okay. So it's a really strong flu that will take out like an old folks home because they have hurt immune systems that can't fight back against it. They should probably take some extra precautions because that's really scary for them. But why does the world need to shut down again? Like, what are we doing here? New York pandemic failures goes on Cuomo's 25 order, which forced nursing homes to accept COVID-19 positive patients, was medical malpractice. Evidence showed that Mr. Cuomo and his administration worked to cover up the tragic aftermath of their policy decisions in an apparent effort to shield themselves from accountability. Wow. Wow. And then they go into misinformation. I could spend all night on this, but yeah. Again, I'll link it in the chat, but this is wild, guys. This is wild. It's all coming to light now. And the actual official White House account shared this. And this was coming directly from the COVID.gov website that now redirects to the White House. And they're like, yep, here's the truth. And it's literally telling everybody what we all already knew. But my goodness, is it refreshing to actually see it written down? It's amazing.